Welcome to Simmons Radio. We are back with little Dave. Another glorious Monday. Do you train today?
Yep, I got glutes and hams.
Oh yeah, I have back. So great day for you and I both. As a whole, how was your hamstring glute in terms of recovery? Is it 100%
It
better?
feels really good.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it feels normal again. There's definitely a mind block doing like lying hamstring curls,
Yes. Yeah.
but outside of that, like it's more of just like a my left leg's a little bit weaker for sure, but most things doesn't matter. I mean, like we RDL'd 315 for straight on, at the end of our that back day the other day. So
Right. Yes.
but I mean, it helps a lot. What my training partner Zach is just comical because I was like, we're gonna make these look clean, and like I got 315 for like 9 or 10,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he got it for 15 plus, but each one was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding when I say, but like there was like how good it was, like coming down, like not touching the floor, immediately back up, just like this.
Yeah. I always call it
Like,
like
how is
forklift
that
mode.
like for you, Zach?
Yeah, I refer to that as like forklift mode.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
someone just hitting a button. It's like hinge to perfect.
Yeah.
I always try to tell people like a good hip hinge is to me a true testament of athleticism and control of the whole body. Uh,
Yeah.
if I'm being brutally honest, it's one of the most attractive things my wife did before she was my wife. Like she'd come in and train with me, I'd watch her like hip hinge in any capacity. I'm like, there's no reason that should look that gorgeous.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. So yeah, and that's a good test for that hamstring and like keeping your glute tight and engaged and being really active with your hip. Uh,
Mhm.
so a good test for you there. So what spurred our conversation for our topic today, which we're going to get into the importance of intra-workout nutrition, is I woke up on Sunday morning and life is just fucking weird, right? Like sometimes you open social media and it's like everyone sings your praises and they're like, thank you so much for all the content you post. Great video. You're motivating the hell out of me. And then the other times you open it and it's like the entire internet feels like they just want to treat you like a scumbag. And that wave of like anger and aggression for me is really funny. And at first, like it used to really get under my skin and like, I put out all this free content that I don't charge for, and yet you're angry at it. And I always found it really interesting. It's like, huh, how bad were you treated as a child or as an adult to just go on a stranger's page and just talk shit for no reason? And, like of all of them, I think the funniest part is when people say that my wife is made up, and I'm like, okay, let me see this. I will have had to have an Instagram profile that I've been working on for 15 years. Every YouTube video, I had to pay a random lady to pretend to be my wife in. Like that's if I had that much time, effort, and energy, like wouldn't I just put that into business and make
Yeah.
money from it?
Yeah. People are wild.
Right. And then you're like people like, oh, you have her trapped in the relationship. She's probably scared to leave. I'm like, okay. If you met my wife one day, you would realize that is far from the truth. That lady does what she wants when she wants.
Yeah.
So, of all the things I learned on a Sunday morning, one of them was that intra-workout nutrition is useless. And, I think if anyone follows you or I, and if anyone does coaching with us, that is the cornerstone in which all meal plans are designed. And the reason I say that, and Dave, you know what my spreadsheet looks like. If you don't, it's training on one side, a training day diet on one side, and off day on the other. And highlighted around your training window is peri-workout nutrition. So what you eat before, what you drink during, and then what you eat afterwards. And no matter whose plan I build from scratch, I always start with the intra-workout nutrition. Like I just do. I put what you're gonna have for intra. I do your pre-lift meal. I do your post-lift meal, and then I work the edges. Or if you work out in the morning, I work the end of the day. Or if you work out in the nighttime, I work the beginning of the day, depending on how you look at it. So to me, the foundation of every single meal plan is that peri-workout window, and I do believe that that is the most important portion of every day. And
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I think like, people can argue and I see the logic of, okay, cool, like what we do today is truly impacted by the meals we ate yesterday. And do I agree with that? Yes, that is also a very factual statement. Um, but at the same time, how are you if you aren't nailing today, everything else is useless in my opinion. Um, you can't use that logic of, oh, Chris, well, what you had yesterday is what truly impacts today. Where to me, it's like the only action item I can focus on is the next one.
Yeah.
And again,
Well, I think that's like the funniest overlooked thing. Like, yes, what you ate yesterday impacts today,
right,
but like we all know what you eat today impacts today as well.
right, yes,
Like, if that wasn't the case,
yeah,
caffeine, right? Think about it.
yeah, yeah,
You know, that's just one. That's one thing what affects that moment, and also tomorrow.
correct, yes,
You know,
yes,
and if you set yourself up for a positive outcome,
mhm, yep,
you're probably gonna have a positive outcome.
yes. I think the number one fallacy that most people see is when they hear intra-workout nutrition, they think, oh, well, there's no way what you're drinking while you're training is truly impacting your training session. And that's because, in my mind, they aren't educated on what we're putting in our intra-workout nutrition.
Mm.
Everything we use is pre-digested. It's going straight to the shuttling of the muscle. And what I said to you yesterday is I said the only reason intra-workout nutrition is useless is if you train like a wimp.
Yeah.
If you don't train hard, you don't need it. You're 100% right. If you're in the gym dicking off on your phone for 2 hours, no, you don't need it. If you're sending girls Snapchats, yeah, you don't need intra. You are 100% right, bro. But I challenge you to come train with you or I for a week and then mirror that statement of, oh, I don't need it. Good luck.
Hmm.
Good luck maintaining performance from exercise 1 to exercise 5. And when I say maintaining performance, I mean the strength that I would expect someone to have. Like, let's say you're pressing the 100-pound dumbbells on exercise 1. I expect flies with 50s, for example, on the last exercise. Pretty simple shit. Where I've trained people in person who don't prioritize nutrition and intra-workout, it's a drastic drop off after exercise 1 and 2, 3, 4, and if there's a fifth, drastically go in the toilet. Why? Because you aren't refueling what you're having, or burning through in a session. So maybe the most logical thing in place to start here is, Dave, what are the ranges that you like to see for supplement values within an intra-workout nutrition?
Starting at like 10 grams of aminos
Yep.
and 20 grams of carbs I mean, that can come from like a mixture of coconut water and cluster dextrin.
Right.
It doesn't have to be just cluster dextrin, but generally that.
Yep. Yep. That is a great starting point, and I agree with you. As a whole, if I'm looking at a broad recommendation, I mean, I've tried to think like what you just said is a good base, and I like to build off of that based upon how you're
Mhm.
tolerating it, right?
Yeah.
I've had your carbs sky high intra workout, and I've had them low in a prep, but I've never pulled intra workout nutrition for you. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is you have to be in a really bad spot. When I say bad spot, meaning you're still holding a lot of fat for where I need you for me to pull intra workout. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think that's one thing that gets lost in translation is like your workout's never going to be a fat burning workout.
no, no,
Like, and so many people approach their gym time as like, I'm going in there to burn fat.
yes.
Like that 1 hour, 2 hours during the day is the last time you want to be burning fat.
Agreed.
Like it's just not efficient. Your muscle doesn't like contract efficiently with like fat. We know like when it uses carbs. So like maybe the other 22 hours of the day focus on fat burning with your diet.
Right. Yes.
But during that training window, like your goal is to maintain strength or build it.
Yes.
Cut and dry. Like your goal is not fat loss.
Yeah.
You're not going to make fat loss happen with a workout.
Correct. Yep. I heard Milo say that when I was really young. He was like, if you go into the gym for any other reason to build new muscle tissue, you're failing. You'll never be huge, I think is what his exact words were. And he's right. Even though when you and I are on little calories and in a big deficit, our mindset is still, I'm gonna get better today. I'm gonna not take weight off of the bar. I'm gonna find ways to get more reps. And that mindset, I feel like, is why we don't lose muscle tissue and actually gain it into a contest prep. There's a lot of other factors, but that is one of the chief ones. And I believe in my heart, the brain will always lead the body. And if you go into it thinking, oh, it's prep, I only have 100 grams of carbs today, I'm definitely getting weaker. Guess what? Your body will follow suit.
Yep. And that's why, I mean, that's why so many people last couple of weeks of contests, like they just get smaller.
Yes.
They
Yep.
don't get leaner.
No.
You know, you lose a pound of muscle and you have the same amount of fat on you. You just got fatter.
Yeah. Right.
You didn't get better. You got fatter.
Right. And I think a lot of times like guys want to overlook that. And I know for a fact I heard Dusty Hanshaw talk about that in one of his preps where he's like, I had to move the leg pad down the lat extension or lat pull down, and I didn't correlate to my brain that I didn't get shorter. I just literally lost quads. It's like that's a great tool, right? Like your belt should be going in holes, but things where you get locked in shouldn't be changing because the muscle is deflating, if that makes sense. So, you know, what you just said there, Dave, of going back to intra here, I like 10, 15. I've been taking some guys as high on essential amino acids as 20 in a session. And then carbs, I don't normally go below 20. And I usually think that like 20 to 40 is a good sweet spot for most people. I'm not going to say I've personally done 90 carbs within a session. I think that's too much. Or at least it was for me. I didn't need that much. And that was at that time, that was not using insulin or anything like that. That was just straight 3 scoops of plasma by biotest. And then I always put creatine monohydrate in mine, and that's 5 to 10 grams. If you use recovery, you don't need to add coconut water because it's already got coconut water powder in it. If you just use cluster dextrin, like say from True Nutrition, I would definitely put coconut water in it for a hydration, rehydration standpoint. And then I think the only other thing that I would touch on before we start to backtrack into where intra-workout started for me is I also have guys, if they don't have a necessarily unlimited budget, I'll have them do casein hydrolysate. So if you want to spend the extra money, have I seen a difference that much in casein hydrolysate versus essential aminos? And I say no.
Yeah.
I just don't see a difference in terms personal or with clients. If you want to say, Chris, I want the ultimate stack, like I would probably put it in there because it's an easy way to get more protein, so to speak. But listen, if I thought it was the best, I'd use it, or I'd give you the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's expensive and it tastes terrible.
oh, it's ammonia. It's literally to me, it tastes like ammonia. And I've made the mistake of having the powder on my hands and I lick it and I'm like, oh fuck me. That is
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Battery acid.
Yes, yeah. It literally tastes like poison. There's no other way to say it. So again, essential aminos, cluster dextrin, coconut water, creatine monohydrate. To me, those are the goats of intra-workout. Um, I thought the next place we would really start with is when you first ever had anything besides water during a session, what did you use?
Honestly, I think the first thing I ever used intra-workout wise was the recovery factor
Oh yeah.
before, what like in the tubs from Granite. I mean, I've definitely played around with that. Like, I remember getting like the Matt Porter one.
Yep.
Even just ordering cluster dextrin and casein,
Mhm.
uh, hydrolyzed caseinate from True Nutrition,
Yep.
and just mixing those.
Yep.
And hell, I remember there was a time I was just doing Gatorade powder,
Yeah. Yep.
and I think that's you realize that really fucking fast, like how beneficial it is when you're not using it, and then you switch to like anybody you could like. If you don't think intra workout is a thing, just go try it.
Mhm.
You know, go legitly. If you're doing like your meal plan, take 20 grams of carbs out of the meal furthest away from your training,
Yep.
and go to 7-Eleven, grab a fucking Gatorade that has 20 grams of carbs in it.
Yep. Yep.
Drink that while you train, and that's just carbs. That's just
Right.
carbs. There's no essential amino acids in that at all.
Right.
And tell me how much better your recovery is.
Yes. Agreed.
And then realize you can. That's a Gatorade.
Yes.
Not something designed to, you know, like with aminos, with electrolytes, with the carbs, but don't like Gatorade's with dextrose, but
Yes.
like highly branched cyclic dextrin is an altered form of dextrose, what doesn't need to be digested.
Yep.
So I mean, it gets better.
Yes. Yep. And I think people don't understand there's levels to it. I remember the first time I ever tried intra-workout nutrition. It was a George Farah article that he wrote for Muscular Development, and he was talking about Vitargo. And he's like, man, I have all my guys using Vitargo and EAAs in there, and that he got that essentially from Milos. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So if you've never used Vitargo, it clumps and it almost leaves like these like for me, I had watermelon flavored, so it was like these little hard clustered, like almost Jolly Ranchers that I had to pick out with my fingers and I'd suck on them and chew them and swallow.
Mhm.
And again, that shows you how much or how far into workouts come. Like I can't imagine getting clumps of recovery. Like it would be terrible. So that was like my first iteration of it. And then once I really started to dig my heels in with Milos, I started to play around with like the timing of EAs and things before, during, after. And then I started reading a lot of T Nation articles from there, and they were pushing at the time as a product called Surge Workout Fuel. So it was just straight cluster dextrin, and then I would add essential aminos into it. So that was like the next step up, and I was like, oh man, this is really good. The problem is it took so much water to reconstitute it so you wouldn't have gastric emptying. Like, it was a lot of fluid. And I remember thinking, fuck, how in the hell am I going to make through all of this on a leg day and not throw up? And, that's back when I didn't know all the tricks where like I didn't put ice in it. So it was like pretty much like room temperature, like mid workout. And I'm like, fuck, this is horrible. And then I got with John and he was like, okay, cool. Like, let's get you with biotest. And they're getting to release a thing called plasma. You don't have to use nearly as much water, and we started using that. Once he left Biotest, he went to True Nutrition, and then he made oh my God, I can't remember what the name of the product was now is eluding me, but it was cherry limeade was the flavor.
Oh, I had that one.
I
I
cannot
don't remember
remember.
what it's called either. The
Fuck. I cannot
yeah,
remember.
something.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, it was actually pretty good, but it was a lot of foam. I don't know if
Yeah,
you remember that, a lot of foam. Like you had to shake it and then just let it settle, and it was like pink. It was pretty good. And then obviously when he, I guess I skipped a step there because he went with PJ Braun and Aaron Singerman to Prime first, and we were all using that garbage product where they were lying about the ingredients. And we couldn't understand why everyone was just like shitting their pants when you had 2 scoops of that stuff. Well, he tested the product, realized it was not what they said it was in there. Um, and then we progressed to the True Nutrition before he started Granite, which is where we are now. So again, I know that I'm sponsored by Granite, and people are like, "Oh, Chris, of course you're going to recommend that." I'll tell you this, like, I'll be brutally honest. If another supplement company hired me for more money, I would still use Recovery. Sorry, like,
yeah.
even if they had a mirrored product, it's that good. Blue Crush is my favorite flavor. Um, and then I did forget. There's one thing that I forgot. I put real salt in mine. Um,
Yeah.
just as an added, like, because I'm a heavy sweater, as you are, and I always wonder too, like if you and I are heavy sweaters or we just train hard.
Yeah.
Like this should be normal, right? But apparently it's not. So let's next, like, what would you say in an all season settings or like the top 1 or 2 reasons that you would use intra-workout nutrition?
Well, I'm going to have another 40 grams of carbs in there. So that's almost 200 grams of rice I don't have to eat.
Correct. Yep.
That's one of the bigger ones. And then second off, I mean, it tastes good.
Yes.
It's not hard to get down,
Yeah.
and it makes your workout better.
Great.
Like in the off season, I prefer like if I think we've had mine up to 60 grams before,
Mhm.
but like a pretty solid mix.
Yeah.
But I'm legitimately drinking that. Like I start drinking that when I take like if I take pre-workout,
Yes.
like 30 minutes before I'm even at the gym, I start drinking. I'm not pounding it,
No.
but I'm sipping on it. And then like I'll drink it all the entire drive to the gym. I'm still drinking some of that,
Mhm.
but I just mix it with more water, so it's a little bit more diluted. But I just want those carbs in me before I even fucking work out,
Yes. Agreed.
you know. And then like obviously I'm done with it before like at the end of my session.
Yep.
But the it helps so much with having that strength and power. I mean, we all know powerlifters eat more food so they can be stronger. It's,
Yes. Yep.
eating more food, what's not going to fuck up your workout. Because like you can try this, go slam a Costco muffin as you walk into the gym.
Yep. Yep.
You can't train hard.
No. Fuck no.
You got 20 grams of fat in you. You just sitting in like you're gonna have a fucking metal ball in your stomach.
Yep.
Your pump's not going to be as good as it could have been versus stuff that's doesn't need to be digested. It's just gonna you're just gonna drink it. And you're gonna be able to use it.
Yep. Yep. So everything you just said there was perfect. The reason I looked for intro or started looking into it is because I used to have a really horrible appetite, and I felt like I can't eat any more food. Where can I get more calories? And then I saw George write that article as like the importance of intra workout, and I'm like, okay, cool. If I can get 50 more grams of carbs and some essential aminos in while I work out, because I'm gonna drink something while I train, fuck, I might as well just have powder in it and get calories. So it made so much logical sense to me. Now, everything that you said, I fully agree with. Um, because you don't want to chug it. And I think that's the problem people run into is you want a steady stream of it. It's almost like if you had an IV drip, right? Like at no point are you or I ever chugging that. Like it's drink, drink, sit it down. And by the end of the session, it needs to be complete. And I realize like if you've never drank an injury workout, the first like week or so may take some like getting used to it to where you don't drink all the way through it, or you have a bunch left over at the end, and that's a bit of an acquired skill. But at this point for you and I, like we know about like it's not even a thought. It's like you just start drinking it before you work out, and then while you train, and by the last set, it's done. It's gone. But another thing that I always think about is I like that hyperhydration effect because I believe it leads to more pumps.
Oh,
Um,
without a doubt.
yeah,
And like health, some like you could talk about as you go down the list, like throw some glycerol in there.
yep,
We
yep,
people throw that's in your pre-workout all the time, but the main component of why glycerol works is it draws water into your muscle.
correct. Yep.
It makes me laugh every time people's dry scoop pre-workouts that have glycerol in it. It's just like, you're actively dehydrating yourself because
Right.
you need the water component. So like, if you're gonna mix it with a liter of water in your intro, like that might actually be better than your pre-workout.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of like you said, dehydration. I mean, your muscles need electrolytes to contract.
Right. Yeah.
And if those are, I mean, that's the fun thing about intra workout, right? You're 100% right. You don't need this unless all your other fucking ducks are in a row.
Yes.
If you don't know how to drink water throughout the day or be hydrated, intra workout doesn't matter. If you're
Yep.
not eating your meals as you should, you're not in where your diet should be.
Right.
Intra workout doesn't fucking matter. If
Right.
you're not sleeping 8 hours a night,
Yep.
or 7+ consistently,
Yep.
you only get 3-4 hours a night. It's like, well, fuck. What do you think is going to happen with this?
Yes.
Like there's no like golden ticket. Like this is the only way to make gains, but like there's a pretty solid reason. Like go watch any sport,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The people pay attention to the little details. Like people who are running marathons, they probably have pretty good shoes,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
and vice versa. Like if it blows my mind how many people have squat shoes, but they can't squat 135. But you'll have some guy like me who is squatting in Vans, drinking intra workout, with 405 on the bar for reps, and they're like, I need to spend my money on squat shoes.
Right.
Have at it.
Right. Yes. Yeah. 1000%. And I think I want to tie another with something that you said about, what starting your intro workout beforehand is so most people drink pre-workouts for pump, right? Well, you have all those, either if it's caffeine, if it's glycerol, if it's some like any type of pump agent is in there. What's going to help shuttle those nutrients into your muscle faster? Carbs. Okay. Guess what our intra workout has? Carbs. So if you start drinking it before, you have all your pre-workout and then you start drinking carbs, and it's like, oh, now I'm going to shuttle system, right? Like it's almost acting as your insulin. And I think it's a lot of times what people don't comprehend is why the programs and things that you and I write is it's synergistic. And even though we may not write that into a plan of saying what I just said of, hey, we're going to start drinking our intra workout beforehand so it shuttles all the pre-workout into our system, it doesn't mean we haven't thought about it. I mean, I've even had guys where they are light eaters, where with their pre-workout, I'll put 15 to 20 grams of highly branched cyclic dextrin in their pre-workout, and then also still have them do intra.
Mhm.
So all different types of things that we can do there. But to wrap up the conversation of off season and why I would use it, another thing is reduce soreness. And most people don't understand that. Like the original reason that John wanted to develop intra workout was not only because it was going to help him grow, but the chief thing is he would always say to me is Chris, is if we can reduce soreness, we can train a muscle more frequently. If you can train a muscle more frequently, we can grow it more. So we
Yeah.
need something that's going to help you recover quicker. And I'm like, that to me made all the sense in the world. That's all I needed to hear for me to be fully bought in on it. And trust me, I already was. Like, but when he said it that plain, that simple, I was like, okay, cool. And it's tangible. Go train legs as hard as you can with no intra workout and then do the exact same workout the next week, but have intra and see how what that soreness last differential is.
Oh, 100%.
It's noticeable. Uh,
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that's just like people get super mad with supplements because the industry is kind of wacky.
yes, agreed.
Like there's a lot of things like so many pre-workouts are just highly caffeinated garbage.
Correct.
Caffeine and Crystal Light, like that's it's fine. And I mean, you're just paying a lot of money for it.
Right. Yes.
But
Yeah.
like people go out of their way to like hate on branched chain amino acids. They're like, and then they just use them wrong.
Correct. Yes.
They're like, oh, I can't lose fat because I'm drinking branched chain amino acids 7 times a day. It's like, well, no shit, dude. You're drinking, 70 grams worth of protein.
Right. Yes.
In a highly digestive state, what your body's just going to use that as glucose. And you're not tracking it. Like,
Right.
I would like to see anybody add 70 grams of carbs basically, throughout the day on a straight IV
Yep. Yep.
and lose body fat. It's just like, okay, cool, you use that wrong.
Mhm.
But we do like once again back to training. Our goal's not burning body fat. Let's throw in a scoop of aminos in there, and this blunts muscle protein breakdown. Like that's a fact.
Correct.
That's not a myth. That's like you can legitimately go look that up on any study.
Yes.
Right? It
Right.
blunts muscle protein breakdown.
Yep.
Like that is probably the opportune time to have that.
Correct.
Like, oh, but they don't work. It's like it does a little bit.
Yes. Yes. It's kind of that always reminds me of like when people get obsessive about like growth hormone. And it's like, Chris, why do you recommend growth hormone post lift? And I was like, because I think that is going to give you the best opportunity for growth, recovery, and fullness. But you could take it at night. Yes, you could take it at night. You could take it fasted. The big thing is you get it in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as you just said, if there's an optimal way to do it and it's easy and it's not going to like make life cumbersome, why in the fuck would you not want to do it? Like, I've yet to see one person walk around the gym and not have anything to drink the entire session. So why don't we just want to put a scoop or two of powders in it and then we just supercharge that gasoline, so to speak? Like, that's always the way I've thought of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I get if you're like, oh, maybe I'm on a budget. If I'm on a budget, that's the only supplement I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
forgo protein powder. I would forgo health supplements if I had to save money. Like that's just me being honest. I know people would say, "Oh, Chris, you got to cover your vitamins, minerals, fish oils, all that shit." I'm like, if I'm that tight of budget, man, I'm only doing intra workout. Intra workout, creatine monohydrate. I'm leaving everything else off. I'm cutting it off. The rest of my money is going to food. So if you're on a budget, there's some words of advice. You're the same way, right?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Well, I mean, like the fun thing about like bodybuilding lifestyle is your diet and your training affects a lot of what your health supplements do.
Yes, agreed. Yep.
Like, oh, your cardiovascular health sucks. Like, cool, you could take, oregano or garlic extract supplements, pay for that, or you could eat better and do cardio.
Correct.
Like the I mean, obviously both is a good thing, but like if you're already doing half of it, like,
Yeah,
you know,
agreed. Agreed. All right, so transitioning into pre-contest. So does the reason for intra workout nutrition shift at all in your brain or have any added benefits when you go from a surplus to a deficit?
oh, it's so much more important.
Agreed.
Well, I don't know about so much more important, but like you notice that so much more
Yeah, right.
versus like because like in off season you have 100 grams of carbs every meal.
Yeah.
and then you have 50 grams of carbs during your training or whatever. Like, cool. Like your body's pretty saturated with carbs. It still helps.
Yes.
In pre-contest, when you're, getting close to the end, you have maybe carbs in 3 meals
Right.
and maybe two, sometimes one.
Right.
But having it during your workout, allowing you to still train with max intensity. I mean, that's like my favorite thing is like, yes, calories in, calories out, but when those calories go in, makes such a big difference.
Agreed. Yes.
Like if you wanted to get rid of your intra workout because you're like, oh man, I'm so hungry for breakfast. All right, cool. Your intra workout has 100 gram, 100 calories per serving, 20 grams of carbs.
Yep.
100 calories. All right, throw that in oatmeal. We're talking, what is that? 25 grams weighed.
Yeah.
That doesn't even fucking matter at that point.
No.
You
Right.
want a tablespoon of oatmeal in the morning because that's
Right.
going to make your life better.
Right. Yeah. Right. I've always thought this, and it goes back to a point I've already made, is I think that's the reason why people allow their workout performance to suffer, and they don't understand why they're getting smaller into the show. And
Yeah,
I place, like I said when I started, I placed such an emphasis on that pre, intra, post window that I would rather starve you outside of that and feed you around it to make sure you're going to have the best possible workout on the planet. And
yeah,
that is to maintain muscle tissue, maintain performance, and honestly, to give you a sense of peace. Like, I love one of the most rewarding things of pre-contest to me is you finish a hard workout, you are literally drained, and you look in the mirror and you're like, Jesus Christ, like that is a pump. And you're like, I only had 80 grams of carbs today so far. Like, that's fucking cool that I can look like this with 80 grams of carbs. Where, as you said, in the all season, I had 80 to 100 grams of carbs per meal before training. Um, and I still am lifting the same weights. Okay, that is here and also nutrient partitioning within that window, in my opinion, is
yeah,
that's able to happen.
yeah,
So you still get all the same added benefits. You get you know, when I spoke about the pump in the all season, that's something that people lose pre-contest, and I refuse to accept that. Like, I don't care how many fucking pickles and salt and shit I have to eat pre-lift or how much water I have to drink. I'm getting a pump in that session. I don't care. It's
yeah.
gonna happen.
Generally, I mean, like my pumps in pre-contest are so much better than off season
Yeah.
because like my body's more efficient,
Mhm. Agreed.
and inch workout doesn't usually change.
Right. Yeah, right. And that's the key, right? Because how many times have we heard guys say, I hadn't had a pump in months? What
That
the,
always blows my fucking
the
mind.
fuck are you doing?
Like you suck at training. That would,
Right.
I love making like that at some like it's not even an assumption, but like even in the off season, like so many people like they take so much random shit
Mhm.
and they think they equate that to knowing how to train well.
Right. Yes.
They take a pre-workout, they take a pump enhancer, you know, and they're cranking their music to 100 and then going to the gym and chatting their ears off and they have a pump.
Right.
And then you do that same thing, but you remove the carbs throughout the day, and it's like, oh, your body has no reason to give you a pump right now.
Right.
They're like, oh, I only get a pump when I take an anadrol, and it's like, well, you fuck.
Yes. Right, 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 right. And I mean, listen, you and I both know there's levels to pump, but it's always present. I would actually get worried that something not food or supplement related, but it's more like, what am I doing in a session? And I
Mhm.
think, man, I must really need some body work. Like if that muscle isn't getting full blown the way I need it to, in my mind, I automatically think it's something mechanical. Um,
Yeah, or rest wise,
Yes, another valid option. I'm just beaten to shit. And I need to take 1 to 2, maybe 3 days off. You're exactly right. And I mean, I think that goes back to this, right? It's like I, when you structure from now we're speaking specifically pre-contest, if you structure and set up a diet properly, I will only push you so long on a level of flatness before I refill you. And where's the first area I always increase carbs? It's always in that peri-workout window. Always. And then, so I do the peri-workout window of increasing the carbs, and then I take every meal you eat before that and I increase the carbs, right? Which becomes cumbersome for guys who train first thing in the morning. And that's something that I've always had to wrestle with is I'll say to a lot of my people who are like, I train first thing in the morning, Chris, I'm like, can you at least get 3 meals in before you train today? If you want a good session, if you're fully depleted. Are you that way with your clients? Like, if you have a hard leg day, I would never want you to train after meal one if I've been pushing you in a deficit for
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah. It wouldn't matter in the off season if I just ate, I had 5,000 calories yesterday,
Correct. Yes.
but that changes so much when yesterday looked like fish in air and cardio.
Yes.
And then today's, heavy leg day, but like you're depleted as hell. Like, oh, let's add food today. And you're like, oh, I'm training legs as soon as I wake up. It's like,
Right.
fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Like, you sure you can't do this in the PM?
Yes. And I think, it's like little things like that that you and I take for granted of understanding the mechanisms of, if anytime we're together, if we are traveling, I'm like, hey, can we get at least 3 meals in before you go train? It's always that. Like, I think you and I would do fine with two, but we want at least 2 to 3 and then a good bit of water. And I think there's also something to that is, normally you and I never train after meal one on a normal day.
Mm-hmm.
And then just in addition, like I always feel better the more awake I am, even though I may say wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and we're going to train at 8, I'm still not as alert as I am at noon.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side of that, unless you and I are in a weird situation, like I don't want to train after 7.
Yeah.
Would I?
Same.
Yes. But by then I'm always like, man, I'm winding down at that point. Like I want to have 1 or 2 meals and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, with the timing and pre-contest, like when you guys are structuring that, I think a lot of times people assume like, oh, I'm just gonna have a high carb day. I have 500 grams of carbs. I should have a great leg day. Well, what if you only have one meal of 100 grams and it's not fully digested by the time you get in the gym? You think you're gonna have any glycogen in the muscle? No, it's still gonna be depleted. If anything, you need to load the day before to train early in the morning. And again, that goes back to logic there, of, if you want to load the glycogen stores in your body, then you have to give it time, which is why when I know I feed you up on a day, your next day session is going to be just as good, if not as better than the one we just had, because you're going to be full.
Mhm.
Even though that day's carbs may be strategically low, you still had 600 yesterday. You're going to be good for today.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think here, any other questions for like intra and things. If it does upset your stomach, I think you just have to play around with the nutrients and the brand and the ingredients within that. Um, and then I also think a lot of people have really mixed up like stuff in their brain that tells them this is useless, I don't need it, and they don't get the true benefit of it. And I know that logically, as long as you drink it, people wouldn't say anything. Like they'd be like, oh, it should still work. Well, yeah, it should. But if you're trying to find holes in it, then just cut it the fuck out. Like,
Yeah. Or I've seen intra-workout gets used wrong all the fucking time.
yeah, yeah.
Like, it needs to be an in-between meal thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So that means you need to structure your pre-lift meal to be an hour, hour and a half before you actually get to the gym.
Yes.
And then that intra-workout happens then.
Mhm. Yep.
That doesn't mean eat a meal at 4 o'clock and gym at 4:30, intra-workout at 4:30. Because what you're doing in that scenario is legitimately trying to drive a Ferrari on 5 o'clock PM traffic.
Yes.
Like, you have a nice fucking car, but it can't go anywhere.
Agreed. Yep.
Like if you want to drive fast, there shouldn't be anything else on the road.
Yes. Yep.
And that's the same thing with digestion. Like, you can't eat your food and drink intra-workout. That's useless then.
Yes. Yep.
All you're doing is adding more food to what, like, it can only go as fast as the car's in front of it.
Right. I've always thought about that as like a purse, right? Like if in that purse, it's a medium-sized purse, right? And you have your pre-lift meal and a liter of water. Okay. So you fill that bitch. If you don't give that time and you just pack a pre-workout on top and you pack an intra-workout on top and shit spewing out of that purse, you think it's going to be a good training session? The answer is no. Go try doing that and laying down in a lying leg curl or a leg press and tell me how your stomach feels. I'm telling you, I've been there. It feels like shit. It's not good, which is why the timing of that, of like figuring out 60 to 90 minutes, some people 2 hours, pre-lift meal, eat. Then you have your pre-workout around 30, 35 minutes, and you start having your intra workout anywhere between 20 and 0 minutes of the first set. If you have all that timed, and then on the flip side, you allow your body to calm down out of that fight or flight before eating your post-lift meal. Like that's one of the reasons I really love another reason to talk about growth hormone again is growth hormone immediately post-lift, it forces you to wait at least 20 minutes before you have your meal. That gives everything time because when you're a pre-contest setting, you and I could both hammer, say, a chest shoulder day and then eat right afterwards if we wanted to. I mean, it wouldn't be a problem. We'd want to suck down cream of rice and chicken or rice or fill in the blank, whatever, the moment we finish training if we could, because you're hungry.
Hmm.
But you and I both know if there's timing within that to maximize muscle gain or not muscle wasting, it's going to be the best bet. So, anything else you want to say about intra-workout nutrition, Dave? That came to your mind while I was talking?
No, that's really about it.
Yeah, I think
But
the other thing is some people I think put it in too little water. We didn't talk about that.
oh yeah, oh 100%. It needs to be mixed. If you have a regular size shaker cup, it's not going to work well for you.
Correct. Yes.
You know, put it in something at least a liter of water.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. And I know a lot
It.
of times like people seem to use that fancy plasma bottle. You don't have to do that, man. Get a
I,
milk
I
jug.
can't tell you how many times I used an empty cranberry juice bottle.
Right. Yeah, orange juice, cranberry, any of that shit. Yeah, exactly. You could use a thermos, like one of those like sport that kids use for like football or baseball in the summer. Um,
Mhm.
all those things work well. John for years was like you, man. He would use like those simply orange juice containers. He would use that those glass milk containers. He used
Yeah,
all of this shit. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a $25 bottle to put your intra-workout nutrition in. By all means, don't hear us say that. Like, you just need something bigger than a 20-ounce shaker cup. Like, if you have a normal blender bottle, it's too small. It,
Yeah,
um, even like so that's I don't know how many ounces of the Stanley Cup that is, but
40, right? I think
yeah,
they're 40 ounces.
yeah. I would,
Or I mean, like if you don't have, if you have a couple shaker cups,
yeah,
I've done it that way where I just, I mix it in one and then pour half of it into another shaker cup and then fill them both up, back up with water. Boom,
right.
40 ounces.
Yep, yep.
And you
And
just drink them the same. Just have to, drink one and then drink the other one.
yes, I'm pretty sure that when I came to California with you last, I didn't bring my plasma bottle, so I did exactly what you said. I shook up as much water as I could fit in a 20-ounce blender bottle. I poured half of that mixture in a smart plastic water bottle, and then I filled them both up with water and took them both to the gym.
Hmm.
Simple as that. What you just said is perfect. Because all we're doing is diluting it. And because a lot of times we'll get people say, "Oh, Chris, I'm having like gastric emptying. It's sitting heavy in my stomach. It just feels my stomach doesn't feel good." It's because you're using too little of water. Is usually the first thing I go to. The next thing is if you're trying to play the cheaper route and use Gatorade powder. Some people's stomach just don't agree with that. Uh,
No,
so
that's exactly why Intra was made. That's why highly branched dextrin was made to bypass that.
yes, 100%. And I think the only other thing that I think we need to talk about intra is things I've seen that's kind of stupid. Like, man, I've been guilty of like seeing, I've done it personally, is like suck down applesauce in the middle of a workout thinking I needed carbs. Listen, all it's gonna do is just pull blood to my stomach, not to my muscles. So the
Hmm.
whole like gummy bear shit, like I know Seth Ferosi does it, it's funny. Like,
Well, the funny thing about Seth Ferosi is he mixes those fucking gummy bears in his Intra
right, right.
so
Yeah.
he can chew on something. But he's still drinking Intra, and everybody takes it backwards and they're like, "Oh, he just eats gummy bears." He's like, "Did you watch him put him in his fucking water bottle full of, you know,
Yes.
of his? He has an Intra workout on his site because he uses it.
Yeah, it's demo day, right? I think.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
then realize that man is shredded at 200. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with carbs. If he's peeled north of 200. I think he's north of 230.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he is a carb burning machine.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't know his story, but like go check out how much Stairmaster he does daily in the morning, fasted. Yeah. And it's not easy like just cruising through it Stairmaster, by the way. So fun fact for you guys. So yeah, please God, don't be guilty. I've seen people walk around with fucking muscle milks and protein bars. If you're doing that, is not an intra-workout nutrition. Like whey isolate is not intra-workout. I don't care who told you. Stop it. It's not. Enough.
So fun story. I actually met a guy at the gym,
Uh-huh.
and he was drinking I'd never seen this color before,
Okay.
but he had a clear big container. I think it was like it was in like a one of those bigger like Muin shaker cups.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't Muin wise. And I was
Mhm.
like, what the hell do you have in there? Because I was like, he walked into the gym and I was in the office
Yeah.
and I saw that and I was like, it was like this weird brownish orange color.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, so I've been mixing my whey isolate with this pre workout. And I drink that while I train. And I
Oh,
was like, are you taking a massive shit? Like just straight right as soon as you get done drinking that? Because that sounds terrible.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was one of those like high stim pre workouts too. What he told me, and just like a scoop and a half of chocolate isolate.
Oh.
So it was like cherry and chocolate. I
Oh.
was, I was like, dude,
Wow.
that is criminal. He's like, I like it though, and I'm like, I don't know how on earth you're not throwing up.
Jesus Christ. You know what's wild about that, about the whole caffeine intro workout? So you're gonna be riding home and hit an energy boost? What the fuck? I know you and I have talked about that of, people who have like ghosts or bangs or, Celsius intro workout. And I'm like, okay, you want to have energy for the ride home? Like you and I want
Yeah,
to come home, chill, eat a meal, and take a nap. Like I don't want to be hype after my training session.
yeah,
So yeah. So I think that covers all the bases of intra workout, the importance. Kind of want to show you guys the evolution of where Dave and I've been using them over the last shit. I think I've been using intra workouts for 15 years now at this point. So
easily 10 here.
yeah, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments below. We can address it on the next one day about intra, and if there's anything that you guys do differently, I'd love to hear your feedback because listen, there's always ways to improve intra workout nutrition. Um, we didn't really touch on like the use of like intra with insulin. I think that's more of an advanced topic that's probably a whole nother podcast or at least podcast section because yeah, um, I don't trust most people to even measure insulin properly. So to
Yeah,
give that kind of advice on a podcast is
yeah, no joke.
an ethical dilemma for me.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
can't do the math on your growth hormone, insulin should not be on the table for you. Another thing is if you don't know the potency in which the steroids that you take are and can't figure out the milligrams, I have a problem. I don't know. I know you and I've talked personally about this. Like, if you list your cycle in CCs, like, I'm never going to trust you. Like,
no,
stop it.
yeah. If you can't do the basic math to realize that, to figure out how many shots you need to take 400 milligrams of test
You probably should have taken.
from a 250 milligram milliliter bottle. If you can't do that math, because it isn't two shots.
No, no, no. Oh, yeah. So, maybe we need to get a whiteboard out one day and talk about the education of that. Um, because, to me, if you're going to go that route, I feel like you just need to at least have what I won't even call it algebra. It's just like basic math. Um, yeah. So
Yeah,
until
it is technically algebra you learned in fifth grade.
right.
Y equals mx plus b.
Oh, perfect.
But I mean, it's way easier than that. But
Yeah. I always joke to Angela, I tell her like, all right, look, tell me this is not hard. It's like if one bottle of Sero has 18 units of growth hormone and it fills with 100 IU of backwater, how much do you need to get 9 units of insulin? And she's like 50. I'm like, why is that hard?
yeah,
It shouldn't be. And she's like, Chris, like most people struggle with that. Like, give them a break. Like, you probably just need to teach them. I'm like, but it's basic math. And she's like, no, to you it's basic, not to everyone else. I'm like, okay, I will understand that mathematical equations don't make sense to a lot of people.
that's why we're coaches is that
Yeah,
math.
yes. Yeah, I literally said to one of my guys once, I was like, all right, if you have 18 units per bottle of Sero and you have 7 bottles of Sero, what's the total number of growth hormone per kit? And then he's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. Got it. Fuck.
Yeah,
That's why you'll never use insulin with me. Okay, cool. Glad we're on the same page.
yeah.
All right. Until next time, Chris, Dave, and my drug rant at the end is now over.